First, we start out with a very special guest, our director, Jay Paul. If we can see a shot of the very lovely Wanda Starke, who is an award-winning journalist. Everybody knows her as the co-anchor on WXII News. She is also very decorated, including being the former National Big Sister of the Year. Welcome, Wanda.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
You don't get interviewed very often, do you?
No, I don't. And to be honest with you, I hate it, but I believe in doing this because we're talking about a good cause.
Well, we really are. Now, for those that don't know, and perhaps they've seen you on the air, but they haven't caught some of your segments that you do about adoption, why are you such an advocate for this?
I'm just passionate about this because I was adopted as a young child, and I just wish that every child in North Carolina, or America for that matter, could have the safe and loving home that I had, because all children deserve that.
They sure do, and we're going to get more to that in just a second, but let me ask the obvious question. Have you ever been able to find out who your birth parents are or were, or were there laws that prevented you from doing that, and how are we doing in terms of laws about that?
Well, I was lucky in that my mother knew my birth mother, and I actually bumped into her at a concert at Hampton University when I was a sophomore in college. And so that was the first meeting, and then some years passed and I decided to look her up on my own, and I did that 25 years ago. And it went fairly well, but I didn't get answers to a lot of the important questions. And as it turned out, years passed and we lost contact, and then her daughter contacted me this past spring, and one thing led to another, and I was able to go to Baltimore, meet her, and get some answers. As it stands in North Carolina right now, the laws prevent people from getting information about their biological parents, but a bill has just been passed in the legislature and the governor signed it. So starting in January, people who have been adopted will be able to go to an adoption agency and say, look, I'm interested in finding my family, and then they will make the contact, and if the biological family agrees to it, if they want the contact, then they'll be able to do that.
That's great. All right, so it's very topical that we brought that up. Okay, before we get the time and get away from us, give me a number, throw out a number. How many kids are waiting to be adopted in North Carolina?
It's astounding. 10,000 children in North Carolina, and 3,000 of them could be adopted right now if people were willing to do it. But can you imagine 10,000 children?
No, I can't. Is there any, let's talk about race and gender, and I mean, are there more girls being waiting? Are there more African Americans waiting to be adopted? What's the breakout?
I don't know the breakdown in terms of gender. There are more African Americans than white Americans. Most of the children who are waiting to be adopted are older children, and therein lies the problem, because most people who want to adopt want babies.
Want babies. Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't bring you here to put you on the spot, but let me ask a couple hot points, and one has to do with gay couples, and one has to do with interracial adoption. How do you stand on that? If you're such an advocate for adoption, should these things matter?
I don't know. That's not my.
I realize that. I just thought as somebody.
I'm a journalist. I just think it's important for children to be in a safe and loving home, and I think that's what matters.
That's
the
the criteria.
Yeah.
What about kids with disabilities? Is it tough to get them placed?
It is, because it takes a very special kind of person to do that. But there are people out there, and the wonderful thing about the Children's Home Society is that they provide help for parents so that they can, there's all kinds of counseling available and financial aid, so they make it easier for people to provide that kind of care.
What about childless couples who would like to have a child, maybe they can't have a child? What would be your plea to them today? What do you tell them?
I would tell them to call the Children's Home Society of North Carolina, 1-800-632-1400. Just tell them that you're interested. Just make the phone call, and that's a good start. They have parenting classes available. Adoption is not as complicated as it was 20 years ago. People can get adopted in as little as 6 to 9 months.
That's great. And your series on XII, you do, other than, of course, we see you all the time as an anchor with Cameron Kent, but you have a special series once a week. When does that air? That
airs every Thursday at 5 o'clock. It's the last segment in the 5 o'clock news.
About adoption.
Mm-hmm. A place to call home.
I know Cameron Kent. I just want to ask, is it true? Is he as difficult to work with as I know he is?
He is not difficult. He is a wonderful person. I am blessed to work with someone as nice as he is and as good as he is at what he does.
Cameron, you better be glad she's a nice one. I'm looking right in the camera at Cameron when you're watching this. He paid you to say that. Wanda, thanks for all the good work you do, seriously.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Oh, and one last thing before I forget. Let's thank the good folks at Dudley Products for helping to make this great segment possible. And folks at Dudley, quality folks, see the big Q in their logo, stands for quality products and quality people. Our thanks to Dudley.